Hey everybody, so we're going to be looking at how to analyze some intervals and race recaps. And real quickly, I wanted to point out, I apologize. The microphone is rubbing on the logo of this Coffee Breakaway Vuelta Ecuador t-shirt. It's a scratchy noise that I just can't get rid of. I've tried to equalize it out and all of that. So apologies in advance. Hope you still find the content useful to make yourself faster. I won't wear that t-shirt again. Promise.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brendan with Evoke Bike. So an athlete asked me if I would make a few videos on how to look at power files for races and intervals and how to make sure that they're executing them properly and kind of what do I look for. So I think this is interesting because there's a lot of different platforms out there, and I thought I would go through a file in WKO and then stick with me because I'm going to look at Training Peaks, which I never use, but it's free, and that's huge. And then there's also this Intervals.ICU, which I am also very, very new to. So some of the features that I really want on it, I know aren't there, which is why I don't use it all the time. But I think there's some good things, and it's another way if you started with it. This video is biased towards WKO because I'm just used to it. However, I don't like the fee. I don't like how slow it is. There's a lot of things that I don't like about it. So no software is going to be perfect, but we could go through all three. But really, let's get to the heart of what am I looking for? Was the question, and I'd love to hear from you. What are you looking for? So I'm going to look at the execution of some over-unders that I did yesterday. And we'll go into Training Peaks and see what the workout was. So I had assigned myself a hard start. So it's going to be 3 minutes, and I was targeting 4:40. And then it's going to be 4 over-unders, a minute at 4:40, and the under I was targeting about 3:30. So I went on the right dead smack in the middle because I am getting over COVID. I had it 3 weeks ago, and I've done some consistent rides, about 2 hours. I did a 3-hour one, I did a 4-hour one, and then I did a VO2 max workout. Was it earlier in the week? And then this was my Friday ride to start the weekend off. And I was feeling good. It was the first day that I felt great, but I'm like, let's get some success with these. And we've talked about in a previous video, when do you set a PR and when do you try and stick through the whole set? This is one of those rides where I'm not trying to get a 3-minute PR on the hard start. I'm not trying to get a 30-minute PR from all three of these connected. I'm trying to really focus on working, create the lactate, and then see that I can hold the wattages in around the 330 so that I'm clearing effectively, but still riding the bike, still performing well. So the first thing that I would read when I open up an athlete's calendar, I read the comments first. Number one, if they are like, I crushed this, I smashed it, I felt great, that's awesome, but that also signals to me this is a great opportunity to be nitpicky. And we'll talk about some things that I can nitpick here. The third one, I would do it differently, but I was so stoked the first two were going so well, and then we'll talk about that. Now, if the athlete had said something along the lines that it wasn't spectacular, hey, it was good, or even if maybe it wasn't a great day, I didn't feel amazing, but I got it done. As a coach, no one session is going to make or break your training. I know as athletes, we want to nail every workout, but getting the essence of the workout done is really important. So on those days when they're not feeling great, they know that the under might not be as high as it could be. They know that the overs might have been a little bit under where they want them to be. I more feel like it's important to give them kudos that they got this done. And I'll say, hey, it wasn't perfect. You could have worked on these things, but this is a win because getting the essence of the workout in is really important. So I think having that type of framework for yourself I had an athlete one time that if it was supposed to be 300 watts, if it was 297, oh, I'm horrible. This is bad. I totally failed. It's like, man, come on. Let's be realistic here. And let's always remember a power meter has some error and variance in it up to 2%. So, the numbers, don't be a robot. And that's not a healthy way to approach this. in order to have long-term engagement with yourself as a cyclist trying to get better through training with power. So all that verboseness said, let's look at the file. I'm going to start in WKO and then we'll tweak around these. So as you know, power files look pretty sloppy at first. And this is my power review pack. Really things that and we can talk about this. I'll do a race file. I'm going to do a time trial. I'm going to do different ones, but I would look at what's the distribution of the riding. I'm going to take a quick look at what is the elevation so that if I see some squirreliness in the power file, I know, okay, he, picked a poor route, went downhill. That's why the watts maybe dipped a little bit lower on the under. And then I don't use DFRC a ton, but it's nice just to have it on this screen if I need it. So what I'm going to first do is obviously highlight these three and then zoom in on them. And I'm not going to go through these mechanics on each one because I honestly don't know how to do it on all of them very quickly. And so here, this one, as you can see, and it's very easy to see, this is going to be the power band that I want to be in for the overs. This is the power band that I want to be in for the unders. I'm going to give myself some flexibility in that I am visiting Rochester. So this area, I don't have routes picked for intervals. So there were a couple turnarounds, but this also, corners that I was going around. I got really lucky on this one. I was basically going through a town and I was like, this is so stupid. The overs. From this, if I initially glance at this from an athlete, I'm thinking this is success. Why? I'm seeing controlled beginnings. This one definitely got a little excited. Don't need to do that. But again, the whole point of this is to spike the lactate. So that's okay, but is it going to hurt one later on? Same thing. Third one, got a little excited. And then I'd be curious why is he, I'm going to say he, because I'll say me. Why am I going so hard here? I'll talk about that. And that would be in my comments probably. Did I actually leave comments in here? Good to get out and crank these out. I felt strong across the board. Last set a bit sloppy. Should have really buckled down for those. Onwards though, got a nice KOM at the end for an 80-second effort. Was going to lift after, but had a tight feeling behind my knee, so I didn't want to stress it more. I've had this before, and I think it's because I'm ramping back up. Sometimes smashing, I get this funny, I think it's what it had been called a Baker cyst. I don't think it's that, but that's for a different video. So what you can do, so this I'm going to be, okay, great. This is success. This looks good. Let's take a quick look through. I don't spend 25 minutes on a power file. There's, number one, it would be very, very hard to run a business that way. So for coaches, and yes, I have had requests from coaches to do more coaching things. I have coaches that contact me about how to run a business. They see how many athletes we have at Evoke. They know I talk about, I'm now only coaching 20 people. I had coached as many as 30, but it didn't leave enough time for me to do videos like this. And I think for the long-term success of Evoke, I'm going to take a step back in that, still make enough money to what I want to make and just have some more flexibility. So I'm down to 20 people. If I'm spending 30 minutes a file, you'd never run a business. You'd have no athletes. And also, you get better at this and you get a good flow going. So what I could say is, based off someone's comments, most of my athletes know what a good, we talk enough about what is good execution. But I would say, okay, where are we here with the laps? I'm going to look at the first 3 minutes on all of them. So 450, okay, went hard on that one. The next 3 minutes, 446, good. And the last one, I'd be thinking 430. Okay, started a little hard. Maybe that's why there's a little dip in here. I don't see a need to go granular and look in this even more. It's like you're going hard. That's the whole point of this. And then all these unders look pretty similar. So for the sake of time in this video, but also to help you be able to do this more efficiently, I wanted to hit 340. I was at 355. I was riding these ones by feel. So I'm going to quickly scroll down. Those crushed them, like clearly feeling good. Let's make sure that continues. I'm sure there's a reason why this is a little sloppy. This is that town I was going through. I'm actually going, you can see the elevation on this one, still going uphill. Did the turnaround. I'm not worried about it. 320, normalized was 360. We're on the mark. We're still clearing lactate. That's the whole point. All these unders are really good. And then this one, I should have put in the notes for Landry. Got a little spicy, was feeling good, and wanted to crank out the. I didn't lap that. Damn it. Was I going up a climb? Yes. Oh, and you know what? Okay, guilty as charged. A KOM popped up on my KOM popped up on my Garmin, and so the over under I told myself, do not ruin this workout for a freaking KOM. But I was like 10 seconds ahead, and I was coming up to a climb, and so I had to gas it. So that's why I went too hard at the end. And I said, hey, maybe I'm gonna pay for it on the third one. That would be foolish. And then the third one, let's talk about this one because I think this is the most important one to see. I want to talk about the unders first. 340. No. 308. And did I maybe hit a corner in there? Because the normalized is good. But I'm just getting sloppy here. 297, 312. Now, excuse my voice too. This comes and goes. I'm still in post-COVID. It's not a good sounding thing. Is the workout wrecked? No, of course not. Are you still clearing lactate even in endurance? Yes. Are there papers out there that have not studied any of us, but have studied a population of people that show 80 to 90% FTP is a good range to practice maximal lactate clearing? Yes. Does that mean your workout sucks because you fiddled with the last set? Not at all. And no, there's not. It's just period. There's not. And to this point, I was going harder. I just felt good, and I really wanted to try and like hit some of these. So on this over, 450, this one 470, this one 480. Let me zoom in here. I don't think I have any geographical reason. Oh, I was going through. Oh, that's what it was. You know, I was trying to navigate around big roads. I've actually never ridden down here exactly. I've definitely never done intervals down here. I have ridden around Canandaigua Lake. The foreign terrain was creating these drops. So I'm like, well, I'm going to smash it harder. Execution wasn't great. And I would just point that out to the athlete. They would come back and say, hey, it was the route. And I say, cool, next time, pick a better route. Here's the other thing. This prescription is based on, what we think is effective. The interval is, if it's a minute and a minute and a half, that's 2.5 minutes. 1, 2, 3. So I want to make sure there's not a fifth one snuck in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 10 minutes, 13 minutes. A 13-minute interval, you're going to have 40 minutes of work in here because the recovery is short, 4 minutes. I think I even shortened one of them. Barely shortened. Oh, no, yeah, shortened this one. Very short, like 2 minutes. So these are for convenience of making a workout script. Should you go harder? I don't think so because it's going to hurt. It could potentially ruin the third set. Everyone's going to feel really good on the first one. The third one, it's like, oh man, I shouldn't have gone so hard on the first one. But what about do the first one, nail it, home run, stay within the ranges. Second one, maybe you skip the rest, or maybe you add on 2 more and then rest and do another one. Or kind of like I did, maybe you elongate the second one. So the total interval was, I think it's barely elongated. Yeah, no, it's not. Never mind, I lied. Do another one, take the rest, and then fiddle with the percentages on the third one. Go harder. Go, there's no exact script. It's not like your coach is in your body being like, this is the exact thing that you need to do for this adaptation. It's very easy to overthink this. Stay within the essence of the ride. To make that even simpler, or another way of looking at this, on an endurance ride, keep it endurance. Don't ride at threshold. I have athletes who will say, and this is usually when we first start because they're corrected very quickly, hey, great endurance ride. And I'm like, actually, 15% was at zone 4 or higher. That's not good. Not only are you working the wrong energy system, you're making yourself more tired for the hard workout coming up. And there's a whole other, the energy system issue is the biggest problem. When you're working on the fat burning, you do not want to be activating your glycolytic system. So I think overall, excuse me, this is good. And then other things that you can look at, I have an Uber Power VO2 Max where it'll show me, hey, did I actually get some VO2 max time based off heart rate? Yes. 20 minutes of slow component VO2 max work accomplished. Great. How does this stack up in terms of PRs? I'm always curious. I look on every ride and I actually set I'll show you that. Go back to the ride file. Zoom, entire workout. Let's see how I cranked out this bad boy. Finally took a KOM from my buddy Drew. He had it for 10 years, so I think that was long enough. And this is a really funny one for being such high wattage. Very up and down. But yeah, 630 for 124. Got it by 5 seconds. That's like a super hard over-under in itself. Maybe my body was really thinking over-under, and that's very interesting, actually. So going back to that, I look at PRs from the season, which granted, remember, if you're in March, the PRs are going to be weird because you're only looking at 3 months. I look at all time. I look at last 90 days. And then I think the past year and 1095 are very valid. I don't look at training impact much. I created that one, DFR season there. And then I think that you could, I'm not going to, you know what, I'm going to go down too many wormholes because we've got to jump into the other ones. So, and that's the thing, you got to be careful. I think it's great to go down the wormholes of coaching software, just not every workout. You're going to waste a lot of time. If you have that much time, you should be riding more. So you would click, excuse me, I apologize for my voice. You would click analyze, and you can tell that while this looks, and you know, WKO does not look pretty. It's pretty archaic. This has the lab spread out actually quite nicely that you could find, okay, where's my first 3 minute? See, this background is irritating, and I'm sure I could get it to go away. Bing. So you can see your duration here, and then average power. So 447, 450, no. Sorry, so you can tell I'm a little clunky here. 466. And can you get the... There is zone shading in here somewhere. So anyways, we don't need to go through this again, but you could do the same exact thing. And then you could also look at your heart rate, how much time, make sure it's set. Hey, 20 minutes, 23 minutes, because this is actually, I don't think I have my heart rates. I think I'm a couple beats too low in the setting. And then here it has it broken down by zone. I was 15% zone 1. I think that's great for an interval workout. So training peaks, not too bad. And then Intervals.ICU, this is a not free software. And I'm premium on Training Peaks, so I believe Analyze is there. I apologize if it's not. So things I don't like, and I'm sure you can turn this off. These auto findings of intervals, they're very weird. I don't like that. You cannot shade the zones. I don't like that. This is smooth power. Not a big fan of smooth power because I want to see random spikes. Because look, my third one looks pretty good. You know, it doesn't look as wonky as it did in WKO. Well, you guys saw it. You can go back and look. I'm not trying to make this video super long. Excuse me. Apologize. The nice thing here is, so power it draws from Strava, so I think all time I have some power spikes in here because I don't correct Strava, but it's kind of for old dudes. I'm up there. It's got some nice things that you can do. You can segment by seasons. I made a bunch of seasons, and I'm gonna start maybe toying with this. I think there's some cool things and just more data. You can compare different things, my cumulative moving time year over year. If you listen to other podcasts, I might start changing that. I don't know. I did a 5-hour ride today. I loved it. I think I had that. I'm having a midlife crisis. What can I say? And then the nice thing is, though, that I do like, which you go into the activity and then you can look at the heart rate, and this will also show you your time spent at 90% max. Interestingly, this only got 15 minutes. That's puzzling. I don't know why, and I don't know the software well enough to determine what it is. So you can fill around with this. I think the compare features and looking back are very interesting. I hope this answers the question and helps you frame how you're going to look at things. The other ones that I have coming up, I want to do a time trial, because time trial should not be just 100% FTP. You should be looking at the terrain and how you rode the terrain. I'm going to talk about a race, and I won't get into that right now, but a race power file, the comments are way more important, because sometimes you're like, well, I didn't hit a PR in my race. Well, aren't your hardest efforts at the end? You're not going to hit PRs. Your 20-minute attack at hour 2.5 or 2, whatever your category is, or 4, if I'm doing a long road race, is not going to be a 20-minute best. However, you can look at that number compared to the fatigue, but it's only based on KJs, which all KJs are not produced equally. If I ride 3,000 KJs at endurance, I'm going to crank out a 5-minute effort. If I ride 3,000 KJs and I have 25 minutes of VO2 max already, I am not going to crank out a 5-minute effort. So you got to be really careful what you're comparing. The last thing that I want to leave people with, and I'm going to repeat this a ton because we heard Larry Warbass say, and don't quote me because I can't remember if it was James Piccoli. Larry said, hey, my FTP has stayed the same for how many years now, but I'm clearly getting stronger and stronger. He's former U.S. national pro champ on the road, riding in the world tour, phenomenal cyclist. And today I went out and did a group ride, and I'm attacking in different points. I'm and this, if you know me, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm trying and I'm not patting myself on the back. There's a reason I'm saying this. My FTP 10 years ago when I did these rides is very similar to my FTP now. The way I ride the ride then versus how I can ride it now are totally different. I could not ride away from people 10 years ago. My ability to ride over threshold, my VO2 max, my ability to crank out watts has come from seriously just pedaling over and over and over again. You have not plateaued when your FTP is sitting at the same point. I have athletes that have ridden for years. Their FTP does not increase every season. Think about that. That physiologically makes no sense. If it did, my FTP should be 800 by now. At some point, your FTP is going to be within a range. Then you need to start figuring out how much anaerobic power do I have? How do I use this FTP power? How much power do I put out late in the day? And the reason I want to bring this up, I got a text message from a buddy. It's been really nice to hear from some people in Rochester. And this guy said, holy crap, dude, you are strong. It's really good to see you. All the hard work you've put in over the years has surely paid off. And this is a guy I rode with 10 years ago, 8 years ago. He's just seen the progression. While your numbers in a computer model might not change, I promise you, you will continue to get better if you consistently ride and consistently train. I'm 40 years old and I am crushing my 30-year-old self. I took that K1 from Drew at mile 75 after this workout. I mean, it wasn't like I had a layup and had a tailwind and just went for this KOM. Continue to train. And please, if this is the first video you've ever watched, I'm not here to pump myself. The whole point of this channel is to help motivate you to keep training, because cycling changed my life, and I hope you go on this journey and continue to get faster. It is so freaking fun, but make sure you have to enjoy the journey of it. If you're here only for the accolades, it's going to be short-lived, I promise you. If you're here because you love riding your bike and you're like, hey, I'm getting better, I'm getting a little bit better, I'm getting a little better, damn it, I've hit this little plateau, how do I crack through that? How do I keep playing this game? Hey, this whole time I'm having fun riding with people, I'm loving these events I'm going to, this is really awesome. You're going to be super successful in this, and you are going to laugh at the previous you from 5 years ago, from 3 years ago, and hopefully you stick with it, and from 10 years ago. I'm murdering my 27-year-old self, just killing, and I hope I keep doing that for, I don't know, maybe I got 5 more years. We'll see. I just told, I'm really losing my voice. We're going to go, but when I had COVID, I told my husband I was done racing. I'm never doing a 4-hour ride again, so COVID sucks. Stay safe. Comment below. Helpful, stupid, whatever. Let me know. Let's go.